Hey, what's going on, you guys? It is me. I'm back, Coach Ademir here. If you've never tuned in, it's been a very long time. I think a little over a year since I recorded an episode for you guys. It's just been a crazy year, to be honest with you. We had our 12 and a half year old dog pass away last year, right after our wedding. So it was kind of high and low, right? Kind of back to back. Um, Struggle of a year mentally, getting back into kind of you know yourself and who you are and figuring it out. But um, anyways, if you know me, that's what happened. If you don't know me, that's what happened. Don't need to get too much into it, right? It is what it is. Um, but anyways, I'm back. So we're back. If you've been a part of this series, my podcast, Living Your Best Life, I am kind of in transition mode as far as figuring out maybe a new name, new title. I don't necessarily have a different direction. The concept of the podcast is still to give you information to help you be a better person mentally, a better person physically, emotionally, and showing up for people around you and for those you love. And especially showing up for yourself and being a better version of you and striving to be your best self. So the whole idea of this is just to give you tips, tricks, concepts, experiences, examples, interviews with people that have gone through the same things that you're probably dealing with, just to show that you're not alone out there. We're not alone. It's not easy. My camera's about to fall. Hold up. It's not easy. And, we acknowledge that. And we have to be there for each other, support each other. But, you know, sometimes we just don't know what to do, even if we're there for each other. So hopefully this helps give ourselves a guide, give you a guide to just be the best version of yourself. So like I said, I'm in transition of figuring out a new name. I do like Living Your Best Life, but I feel like it's a little too common in terms of, oh, another Live Your Best Life podcast type of deal. So there's a few floating around in there. I have had like Reclaim Your Edge kind of thing, or whatever. We'll see. Feel free to comment. Give me some suggestions if you have any. The idea of the podcast is to really reclaim yourself, especially if you're in your 30s and 40s. I'm 37, you guys. Like, I know what we're dealing with when we get to our 30s. I know what we're dealing with when we get close to our 40s. I'm not quite in the 40s yet, obviously, but we all know what happens. So if we could develop strategies now to help us avoid the type of slumps that we hear about, the type of energy dips that we hear about, the loss of testosterone, the loss of our sex drive, the loss of our energy, just little things like that that we hear about. My goal here is to help us mitigate that and not get so far deep into a hole that we can't get ourselves out. So, first episode now again in this new series is the why now, right? Why is this happening to me now? And understanding the shift that happens when you're in your 30s and 40s. So we'll get into that. The episode is titled "The Why Now: Your Body in Your 30s and 40s, Metabolism, Hormones, and How to Adapt." So let's get into it. All right, let's be honest, you guys. If you're in your 30s, your early 40s, mid 40s, you've probably noticed something a little unsettling kind of happening, a little like, what the hell is going on? Maybe you're going to the gym, or maybe you're playing a sport, or maybe you're active doing, outdoor activities, whatever it may be. You're active at work the same way you've been active for the last 15 years since you were 20. But for some reason, like you're just not losing weight as fast as you would like, or as fast as you used to. You're not recovering as fast as you used to. Maybe you're eating like, you know, pretty healthy, but even so, like you still feel a little low energy midday, kind of just like sluggish mid afternoon and not wanting to do so much. You're like, I was supposed to go to the gym, but now I don't feel like it. I used to be able to do this all the time, and now I can't, but now I'm tired. I just want to go home and sleep, and I get it, right? Or even like maybe you're not sleeping as well. You're sleeping the same amount of time you're going to bed, probably earlier than you ever have been, and you're still not feeling as rested as you can. You just don't feel like yourself anymore, right? And you know what? It tends to happen. as frustrating as it is and as annoying as it is and as like upsetting it can be, it is what it is once we get to this age. You look at your younger self and it just feels like your body just operated on different rules at the time. Like it just how you look back and you're like, how the hell did I do that? I remember times like I make fun of, I mean, not make fun of it. Like we make jokes with my group of friends that like we used to go out to like 3, 4 in the morning, drink, and then go to sleep for like 2 hours, and then get to work by 8 a.m. Still drunk, still function and operate all day, and then end up going out that night too, and just night after night, weekend after weekend. It was just crazy. So like, if you're feeling the way that I'm explaining and the way I'm describing, you're not alone. Like a lot of us feel that way once we get past 30, especially past 35. I think 30 is like kind of gauge, but I think 35 is a real good marker of like, all right, that's when you really start to feel a little older and a little different. Things are just not the same. But like I said, you guys, you're not alone. It's one of the most common complaints I hear from successful people, from driven people, from people older than me, people obviously not younger, but people older than me that are feeling the same way and have the same, not complaints, but same circumstances, same issues that they have, the same challenges that they have to deal with. I like that word, challenges. Side note, if you ever feel like something's hard or difficult, try saying it's challenging versus hard, and your mindset will shift a little bit and it'll probably help you get over it faster. But I've been there too, you guys. I've been tired. I've been exhausted. I've gained weight where I shouldn't have. I gained weight in ways that were like, what? I've been doing this the same way for so long, but because my body changes and I'm not not that I'm not understanding it, but we'll say I'm not accepting it. Let's be real. I'm not accepting it. We don't accept it, right? And then we don't want to change the things we're supposed to change. So the thing we have to do is understand what it is that's changing so that we can actually make the necessary changes. But I remember I was there. I was juggling a very time demanding and mentally demanding career. I was working a lot, like 50 plus hours a week. I was eating out all the time. I was drinking a lot. I wouldn't even, I can't even say that maybe I was low on confidence. I probably was, but because I was, having so much quote unquote pleasure in the drinking and the food and the going out and the partying and stuff, I wasn't really feeling like I was low on confidence. I was just having a good time. But looking back, it's like I wasn't necessarily happy, like having fun. I was for my being, for my soul, for my core. Like I was having fun in that moment. It's fleeting, So we all get there, but we get to a point. I got to a point, and hopefully you get a point that we figure out we have to change and we have to make some different choices in our life to improve our circumstances, to improve our health, to improve our relationships, to improve whatever it is around us that isn't going as well as we would like. So I made those changes. Now I help people just like you make those changes in their life. And now I want to show you how in a quick little video instead of, having to hire me to keep you accountable and text you every day and message you every day and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. But there's a few things that we can do. But first thing we have to talk about is why the old methods aren't working anymore. Is it that what we used to do 10 years ago just doesn't work now? And why does it piss us off, right? But it comes down to fundamental and often misunderstood physiological shifts that just occur as we get into our 30s, as we get into our 40s, and of course, as we get into our later 50s and 60s, right? Other changes are going to happen. But we'll talk about that when we get to it in about 20 years. But it's not about being old, right? It's not about getting older. It's just about understanding what our body's demands are and adapting to it, right? So we don't necessarily have to get old and call it that and blame it on age. We have to adapt to what's happening to our bodies so that when we do go out and do the things exercise wise or nutritionally, we're still getting the results that our body needs at our age and at our time. So it's about being smart and understanding your body's new demands. So there's a few talking points we're going to go over real quick. 3 examples as to what's going on. The first thing is your metabolism is slowing down. We've heard it a lot. We know what metabolism is. It's basically like your furnace, your burns. It's what burns calories for you. The biggest thing we got to talk about is your BMR. What that is your basal metabolic rate, and that's the number of calories that your body is burning at rest. So like right now, I'm actually burning calories. Yay! Not a lot, probably like 5 or 10 per hour, but you're burning calories at rest. That's basically your me speaking, me moving my arms, me breathing, the blood flowing through my body, my heart pumping, all the organs, everything that's going on in my body requires energy. Energy comes from calories. So I'm burning calories at rest. But as we get older, that naturally starts to decline. So I may start with a 2000 calorie basal metabolic rate. Every year, let's say it goes down 100, right? So at 30, I'm at 2000. At 31, I'm at 1900. At 32, I'm at 1800. At 30, let's not go beyond that. Math isn't really my strong suit, so let's just leave it there. But you guys get the idea. On average, your BMR is going to drop about 1 to 2% per decade after 25 to 30 years old. So, like I said, that once you get to 35, that's when we really start to feel the dip in the testosterone. So, a decade after 25, around 35, right? Within that decade, you're going to feel that decline, that percentage decline. It doesn't sound like a lot, 1 to 2%, but over the years, as you compound it, it is going to add up. So that means that if you're eating and drinking and partying and doing the same things that you do in your 20s, you're actually in a calorie surplus without even realizing it. You used to burn 2,000 calories a day just chilling. Now you only burn 1,500, but you're still eating the same amount of food. You're still drinking the same amount. So now we may be at the same calorie burn, or you're in a surplus now, and that is why you're gaining a few pounds every few months. Physiologically, if we're not adapting to it, then we're just going to continue to gain weight. We're not going to lose weight. So once we know what it is, we can explain, man, I don't know what I'm gaining weight reason, right? Basal metabolic rate, super important. It's what you burn when you're at rest. It dips as you get older, which means you have to move a little bit more. So, as an example, think of your body as a car engine, or your metabolism as a car engine. In your 20s, it's a high performance vehicle. It's got a really efficient engine. It's burning fuel efficiently, right? Burning fat efficiently, we'll say. But in your 30s and 40s, it's still a powerful engine. You still have a strong, high performing engine, but it's going to need a little tune up every now and then. It's going to need a little bit different fuel. It might need a little bit longer time in the pit stop, right? A little longer recovery period for it to run optimally. So even as we get older, we do have to adapt and change how much fuel we're putting into our bodies, how much rest we're giving our bodies, also how much positive images and content we're putting into our brain. If we're consistently consuming negative ideas and negative content, that's going to tire us out too, and we're not going to be able to perform at our highest level. So we can't just keep giving or putting our body through so much that we did 10 years ago and expect it to recover the way we want it to. It's just not going to happen, guys. I'm sorry. I've been there too. I'm there, man. I know. All right. Second thing we got here, guys, is your hormonal shifts. These are basically our master controllers. Ooh, they control you. Your hormones control exactly what goes on in your body physiologically. The key hormones are particularly that we have to worry about as we get older are testosterone and growth hormone. Those start to, yes, think about your sex drive, but also think about your muscle mass, right? Testosterone is critical for muscle maintenance, for muscle growth, for fat loss, for energy, for mood, and cognitive function, right? So we need it for more things than just having sex. Testosterone is important. So as that starts to decline, we need to maintain our strength training routine. We need to maintain our healthy eating, of whole nutrient dense foods. We need to maintain our sleep patterns, have good routines around our morning wake up and our going to sleep time. So testosterone is more important than just sex. That's the main point there, right? So, as an example, testosterone typically peaks in your late teens and early 20s, and then begins a slow, steady decline of about 1% per year after 30. So, from 30 to 40 years old, your testosterone is declining 10%. 40 to 50, that's another 10%. So, by the time you're 50, your testosterone production has declined by 20%. That's a lot. All right. So, what that means for you is that during these critical years of testosterone production decrease, our metabolic rate decreasing, we need to improve our movement. We need to improve our nutrition. So as we lose testosterone, that directly translates to challenges in maintaining your muscle mass, losing your body fat, right? So that stubborn belly fat, it's not anything to do with you not eating correctly. If you're eating correctly and the belly fat just is taking a lot longer than you expect, that could attributes to the dip in testosterone. It just happens. You don't feel as sharp. You don't feel as clear when you're thinking sometimes. You get that brain fog. You're not as energetic as you used to be. that's your testosterone declining. And the same thing with growth hormone, it's crucial for your recovery. So when you're sleeping, growth hormone is secreted in your body to help you recover. And it also helps your body composition, right? So it helps your muscle really form nicely. It helps the body fat reduction in the right areas that it's supposed to, so that the body functions at its optimal state. So less testosterone and less growth hormone, I mean, it's harder to build and retain lean muscle, which is a huge metabolic driver. The more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you're going to burn. And it's also going to be easier to accumulate fat, especially around your midsection. So that belly fat is going to be a lot easier to come on and stay when you're getting older. So nutrition is important, strength training is important, recovery and sleep is also super important. All right, let's talk about the last one here, guys. A silent assassin that we call it, the lifestyle creep. Not the creep that's, in the closet. The lifestyle creep. They call it a creep and the silent assassin because you don't really know it's there, right? We don't really pay attention to it because we're always talking about nutrition, we're always talking about strength training, we're always talking about sleep. But it's not just about your biology, it's about your lifestyle changes too. As we get older, most of us work in an office setting. Most of us work seated all the time. We're not as active, right? We may sit in an office for 8 hours, then we're going to sit in the car for an hour as we commute there and back, maybe longer if you live in LA, right? And once you get home, you probably sit on the couch or sit at the dinner table, eat your food, and you sit on the couch, watch TV, and then you just lay down. For some of us, yes, we do go to the gym and do things like that, but we're still more sedentary than we ever have been. We also have more increased family responsibilities, right? So now we have more stress. Higher stress levels are going to attribute to higher cortisol in your body, which is going to make it a lot more difficult to lose weight and recover. You have less consistent sleep, especially if you have kids. I personally don't have children, so I can't speak on the difficulty and the lack of sleep, but I do acknowledge it. I do see it. I do know it. I do hear about it. So I understand that you get less sleep. So that's a big contributing factor too that sometimes we don't think about. We just assume that, okay, that's just part of daily life. I just got to get over it and deal with it. Unfortunately, as you get older, it's very hard to just get over it and deal with it. And then again, because we're getting older, we're getting into more social circles, we're getting into more family circles, more family events. That leads to more social drinking as well, and probably more social eating of food that we shouldn't be eating and sweets and things like that. So there's more of that in our life that we didn't have before, and we're not taking that into account sometimes. Sometimes looking back, you remember if you were in college or if you were working a lot, you can probably scarf down a whole pizza and a soda and maybe a cookie, be up all night, not go work out, but go out, have some drinks, hang with some friends, go to sleep late, and then wake up early, go to the gym and go to work the next morning and feel just fine. Now, just the thought of that seems exhausting, right? Even just if you had that one extra drink that you weren't supposed to have that you said, no, I should only have two, then you have three, and you can't sleep, and you feel it for a day and a half. It lingers these days, right? That's the lifestyle creep that we talk about. It's the compounding physiological changes that we don't notice because they're so small and so like, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. We kind of just sweep it past and past until it really like hits us hard. So less movement equals higher stress, poorer sleep, and they're all going to negatively impact your metabolism and your hormones. All right, so what's the solution, right? There's all this great. Now what do I do? So much going against me because I'm getting older. I'm in my 30s, I'm in my 40s, and there's so much going against me. But there is good news. There are solutions. There are things that we can do. We do have the power to adapt. The only thing that you have to do is actually try it, right? You can't just sit there and hope that things change. And you can't give up either. It's not about giving up. It's about getting smarter. It's about understanding what we can do to really fix these things in our lives. If you're a business person or if you're trying to start a company, right, you have to create a business plan. You have to create goals and you have to implement strategies to fulfill those goals. Same with your body, same with your physiology. It's about implementing strategies that work with your body's current physiology. I'm going to get it right the first time on one of these, I promise. That work with your body's current physiology, not against it. That one doesn't count because I just said it. But for me, if you know me personally, if you've heard me say it before, I grew up watching Kobe Bryant. Like I played soccer, and he played basketball, obviously, but that's just the way he approached the game, the way he approached life, the way he approached challenges. That's kind of how we should all, it doesn't have to be as intense. We don't have to be as intense as Kobe, but we all have to have the same type of mindset of pursuing excellence and really striving to be great and to be the best version of ourselves. So that's where this mentality comes in. The Mamba mentality, we call it, right? There it is. If you're on video, you can see my tattoo. Understanding the game and adapting your strategy for relentless excellence. That's how Kobe would approach life, and that's how I like to just kind of look at things. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to say that I do it every freaking day or every moment of every waking moment of my life, but in the back of my mind, that's what I strive for, and that's what we should all strive for. Just be better than you were yesterday and try to overcome the challenges that your body is throwing at you now. But there's strategies, right? So use those whatever strategies that you that we talk about to overcome those challenges that you have. So things you can do: prioritize strength training. I mentioned it before. Muscle is your metabolic powerhouse. That means that it burns more calories than anything in your body. Muscle. All right. More muscle equals a higher metabolism. So you need to focus on building and preserving lean muscle mass more than ever. So don't overdo your cardio, right? You got to build muscle, but preserving it means don't overdo your cardio. Sprinkling cardio when necessary, do it correctly, but it's about resistance training. And with cardio, you can do resistance training. That would be inclines, that would be sprints, that would be like stairmaster, anything that you have to do go up and create some resistance. Even if you're running and you're running on flat land, doing some sprints would be considered some form of resistance training in cardio. Along with your strength training, strategic nutrition, my friends. Forget restrictive diets. Don't worry about keto, paleo, this, high fat, high protein, high carb, no carb, low carb, this carb, that carb. Don't worry about that. All right. Optimize your protein intake to support your muscle and your satiety. How do we say that word? I've heard it like so many different words. Basically, you're satisfy your hunger. That's what that means. Protein intake is going to support your muscle growth, your lean mass, but it's also going to help you stay fuller longer and help you be satisfied when you do eat more protein. And then you're also going to focus on nutrient dense whole foods. All that means is it doesn't mean go to Whole Foods, although they do have good quality food. All that means is the easiest way to remember is how I tell my clients: if it grows in the ground, if it walks on the earth, if it swims in the sea, or if it flies in the sky, it's probably okay to eat. All right. Those are the whole foods you got to eat. Think caveman, think primitive, and then understand when you're eating it, right? Don't eat just because you feel like you have to. If you're hungry, eat, unless it's super late at night and you feel like when you eat late at night, you don't sleep well. You got to remember those things too. But it's about fueling your performance and your hormonal health and also doing it to your body. Everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to need to strength train and have strategic nutrition, but everyone's going to implement it differently in their life. Master your sleep and recovery. Honestly, you guys, this is seriously non-negotiable. I tell people all the time when they ask me about training, this and that, how do I do this? How do I do that? They don't feel well. All right, well, how's your sleep good? No? Okay, then let's get that under control. Quality sleep is essential for hormone regulation, energy restoration, and fat loss. And then also stress management. It's going to help you relieve your stress and recover nicely when you get a good night's rest and you have more energy in the morning. And then listen to your body and be consistent. Progress isn't always going to be linear, right? We're not always just going to go straight up. You're going to have your ups and downs. You might go up and you might go down, and you go up and you go down for a while and you go up a little bit. It's just going to happen. I have to look at myself to make sure I'm going up and down. But it's not always linear. Learn to pay attention to your energy levels. See when you feel your best. See when you feel recovered your best. See when you don't feel recovered. Listen to your hunger cues and understand why you feel hungry, when you're feeling hungry, what is best for you to eat in certain times when you're hungry so that you feel full longer, so that you don't have to eat sooner. Those are things we have to consider. But everyone has their own strategy. Following a certain plan, if you're not consistent with any plan, it's not going to work. So consistency is going to beat everything all the time, especially when you're managing a busy life. So try to stay consistent so that things don't get in the way and things don't just pop up. All right, you guys, that's it. That's all I got today. But it's kind of this episode, I kind of want it to be like a wake up call for you guys in your 30s, 40s. If you're not exercising, if you're not monitoring your nutrition, if you're not paying attention to your health, that feeling that you're having of frustration with your body, that you're not losing weight, that you don't feel as strong, that you don't feel as energetic, that you don't have a high sex drive, that you just don't have the energy or the mood to deal with friends or people. It's real. And it has roots in science. It has roots in understanding our biology and being able to fix that. So it's a solvable problem, which is a good thing. It's a good problem to have that we can solve. So again, it's not about being old. It's about being smart. It's about understanding the game and adapting our strategy. All right. It's time to learn to work with your body Don't work against it. Don't be mad at it. Don't be frustrated with it. It's your only body that you have. Be nice to it. Forgive it when it hurts. Be nice to it when it hurts and help it recover and be better. All right. So this is just the beginning, you guys. Like I said earlier, I'm restarting this series. I'm coming back with a different energy, a different mindset to really reach as many of you out there as possible to help you become the best version of yourself. You're going to hear me say that a lot. I truly believe it. I truly believe that every single one of you can be great, that you can be better, that you can be someone that people in your life can depend on and rely on and say, hey, yeah, that's the person I want to be like. It's a good feeling to be a high performer and a high achiever. All right. So if you're not there yet, if you want to be, or you don't necessarily feel like I need to be a high achiever, that's fine too. It's not about being a high achiever. It's about achieving the most for yourself. So it's about, I guess it is about being a high achiever, but to yourself, not to anyone else. So over the coming weeks, we are going to dive a lot deeper into more of these solutions, more actionable strategies, tips, mindset shifts that you're going to need to reclaim your health, happiness, and your success. So stay tuned for more. If you did find this episode in any way valuable, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave me a review. Any questions you have on their reviews on the reviews is fine. Any suggestions you may have on things that you need to talk about, please do so. And if you know anyone in your life that needs to hear these things and that they're also around our age group, 30s and 40s, and that needs to hear this message, and share it with them as well, please. And if you're ready to stop guessing and start getting results with a proven, personalized approach for yourself, then go ahead and check out my programs. They're on my Instagram at Coach Ademir. I am working on my website right now. That's coming. But for now, go to at Coach Ademir at Instagram and you'll see my coaching programs on there. So let's unlock your full potential. Let's do it together. All right. Again, you guys, I'm Coach Ademir. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for your support and just reminding you to love yourself and go out there and be the best version of yourself. Bye.